Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Oh. Hello and welcome. It's another player profile and projection here at Talkin Yanks. It's Josh Donaldson. It's an interesting one. Josh Donaldson came over in the trade. Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela for Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner Falefa. And he played last year a lot of games. Defense was great. Offense not so great. Jake, you excited to talk and walk through this one?
I think we're interested too. And these PPPs are presented to you by SeatGeek. Code Yanks, $20 off your first order with SeatGeek. I think we're interested to see if we land on anything we didn't think we would. Because let's circle back a little bit. I mean, Josh Donaldson, he's got an MVP in the bag. The year before in Minnesota, he had an 827 OPS. He was he was kind of a keyboard warrior. Like, Josh Donaldson was like the most active MLB player on the internet, or one of. We were looking at the whole resume, career 853 OPS, what he'd done the past couple years, that we were like, all right, Josh Donaldson can kind of be a thrasher in like the 4 or 5 spot of this lineup. The hitting just never happened. 222, 308, a 374 slugging, and a 682 OPS. You're going to talk yourself into it as the team and blindly believe, but they kept waiting for it to click, and it never did. And I don't know. He just turned 37 in December. And it's really, really hard to be optimistic about Josh Donaldson's season this year with the Yankees. How about that?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement.
It's a fair statement. The price point, everything that goes into it. Okay, I mean, MLB or whoever it was put out a poll, Zips projections or MLB, or I forget who it was, a top 10 third baseman, and DJ got the 10th spot, and he's not, I guess right now, the starting over Donaldson.
You'd assume so if they're both healthy.
And again, we're recording this in January 23rd, so things might be happening. If they do, we'll change it, I guess. But yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, his bat has slowly regressed. Some of the at-bats last year were really tough. I think I talked about a lot. My dad was just like, he's tough at-bat to watch because he wasn't doing anything different at any point. It was tough to watch. I mean, the curveballs and the fastballs, they were both plaguing him pretty hard. I think at one point he was hitting curves, and then that stopped. He had like 2 good weeks. I think like right after the suspension came down, or I think his uncle passed away, and it was like a combo, and he was left for a while. It was like heating up, and you're like, oh, okay, he's heating up, and then it fizzled out. I mean, he played a lot of games.
Sure did. Even in the playoffs, like that first series in Cleveland, if you remember, he had a few walks, which had people excited a little bit. Because you want to buy in. I mean, going back to last year, his intensity, what he ended up bringing on defense, what was electric. I love good third base defensive play, and he brought that. And to the point that he racked up some WAR last year, 2.5 WAR. But man, 132 games.
132 games?
132 games.
30 with extra base hits.
23 of those at DH.
So 100 games without an extra base hit.
Third base. So I don't know, man. It was a bad year.
How many multi-hit games did he have? 21?
I'd guess 21.
I don't know the norm or not norm here, but...
Well, I can tell you in 2021, the Josh Donaldson we hope to be getting, he had 27, so not that many more.
Yeah.
Kind of the offensively, the one like thing he sort of consistently brought to the table all year was he walked, and even then the walk rate is down from like Josh Donaldson years. So
yeah, that
wasn't his best.
That's kind of what scared me looking at the Minnesota numbers from the year before. The year before with Minnesota, he had in a very similar amount of plate appearances and at bats. He had 74 walks compared to 54 with the Yankees. So he had 20 more walks, and he had 34 more strikeouts with the Yankees. So that's, you talk to a lot of ball players, and the walk strikeout thing is a good indicator. The fact that both of those went in the wrong direction is pretty scary.
I have an interesting one for you.
Sure.
Now, a couple years ago now, maybe 3 years ago, you were tweeting about the in wins and losses split about players and just how much better guys are in wins. It's not surprising.
Right.
Once you think about it.
But when you look at it, you're like, oh my God, every single time. I went to check his out because the Yankees won a lot last year.
Yeah.
And he didn't have good numbers. And I thought maybe he might be a guy where he, even in wins, but his numbers his slash line in wins in 78 games is really good.
In the wins?
Yeah. It's
like dramatically different.
It's 267 batting average, 365 on base, 455 slugging, 820 OPS. I don't know. That split never makes sense to me.
Right.
Obviously, people are going to win, but I thought this would be a case where we find a guy who
like
was still struggling even when the team was winning because he wasn't like part of the wins offensively. Defensively, he might have been.
One walk-off grand slam.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was cool.
When he screamed we're back at Glaber and then they weren't.
Actually.
Yeah, he ended up having
opening day.
He still had a couple moments. The defense was consistent. Like that's, on that side of the ball, there were no complaints, which, not the easiest position on the field to play. You appreciate that. And that's what gave the Yankees hope / bought them into the fact that, hey, maybe he's got something athletically. He still should be there. But yeah, man, I mean, a player getting older, worst weighted run created plus since his rookie season. I don't know. If this guy wasn't owed $29 million, which includes this year's contract and what would be a buyout for next year, I don't know if he'd be on the team. I don't know if he will be on the team. But, I mean, it more or less feels like the Yankees are going to ride with Josh Donaldson a little bit to see if he could tap into anything from previous years. If you're looking for any optimism, the guy is as into hitting as anyone you'll ever meet. Like, there's a chance, even though Josh Donaldson has a nice bank account, he could become a hitting coach. He's, like, addicted to hitting. So maybe he's finding something, but I'd expect him to be out there for the first couple months, but after what we saw last year, age, everything considered, it's tough to be optimistic.
Yes. I don't know. He had 4 pinch hit at bats and he got a hit or 2 hits, so maybe he's great off the bench. They're in a tough spot with this Twins trade. They are in a tough spot with this Twins trade, and I don't know what they're going to do or how it's going to play out. Is Josh Donaldson having a great May? Good or bad for them long term?
Would be an interesting
Could be in line
question.
for an Avarex.
Yeah. I really don't know.
Right.
I have no idea.
And yet, funny enough,
IKF 69 OPS plus and wins.
not bad.
Didn't help.
Josh Donaldson, his baseball reference, which we talk about how, it's tough to get a high reliability. Maybe this is scarier. 81% reliability. They're pretty high. Has him 228, 316, a 714 OPS.
Rizzo's was what, 83? So they like the hitters more? 228, 36. That's bad. I don't want that. $21 million. I don't want that.
Yeah.
And he's got an $8 million buyout. So how much are the Yanks willing to eat, or what are they going to do? If he has a good April, do they call up people, or they won't do that?
No.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I'd like DJ to be starting. I feel like last year I was like, if DJ's healthy, he's starting over Glaber, and I was just like on that horse the whole time, which I believed in. Glaber's been pretty good. If DJ's starting over someone now, it's Donaldson.
Right.
And Glaber's starting at second. Just because a guy's versatile doesn't mean he loses a starting spot. They really wanted Donaldson to work, man. They had him. Yeah. They had him leading off opening day,
and we got hype because he was supposed to be the bad guy, and he kind of was in a way. Like, other teams do not like him. We saw that in a bad way with the White Sox. Like, I don't know, man. In my head, and we'll see if we get to an Aaron Hicks one. We'll see if this ever reaches there, because there are rumors the Yankees are talking to people, but I think Josh Donaldson, you're trading him to a team for this year, you'd have to eat a chunk of money, and basically a bad team would let him sit at third base and hope he sparks.
Should I do a random video?
Do a random video, and maybe we'll get something good. But I don't know. With the money they owe him, it feels like the Yankees are going to plop him at third, hope he finds something. If he does, they'll puff their chest. If he doesn't,
because even with like last year, the vibes around him being as bad as like, technically, I think the Yankees see it as he hit league average and played great defense, and it did not feel league average, and the defense did feel good. But so they're saying if they get anything more, then all of a sudden he's an above-average hitter with above-average defense.
They're very proud of the defense, which the team defense was a big focus for them and was pretty nice last year.
With that said, DJ
defense at third
very
is kind of
similarly.
like being like, she's got a great personality and they're really fun to be around. Like, if you're bragging about that, it's a power position that you want your offensive numbers to come from. It's not up the middle. If a team is going,
you want a good glove there, but
you do, of course. And a lot of the third basemen in the league are really good with the glove and also hit. It's a position where you can get both. It's not like shortstop where there's like,
this might be the best time to ever be a third baseman.
So the Yankees saying that that's talk. That is not what they're saying in their room amongst themselves.
And DJ played great defense at third last year.
Yeah.
While they were kind of even.
Here's the random
DJ
video.
got hurt, everyone was saying those are the two best defensive third basemen.
RV.
It's against the Mets.
It's against the Mets.
Walker, swing and a miss, slider low.
Ooh.
Tough random video.
Looked like a good pitch.
You like that pitch or his first pitch of the at-bat?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have an over-under?
I think Beebs just edited to 49.5 games played after the All-Star break.
Under.
Which I would be under.
Under.
Yeah, I didn't know what number to put it at, but
What number would you put that at? 2?
Yeah, it's tough, right?
these guys get into games too, especially second half of the year. DJ, we know they're probably going to want to sit down the stretch once a week.
After the All-Star break. Yeah, I guess the cheeky over-under would be like
0.5.
15, because that means he either makes it to the trade deadline
15
or he
starts.
doesn't.
Oh, yes.
That would be the-
Yes, that's what I was
Should change
thinking.
it to 15.5 starts after the trade deadline.
Under. But injuries, who knows, man? Gosh.
There's a world where he's just good.
Glaber plays out of his mind. Volpe comes up. Peraza moves to third. DJ's got a cane.
Yeah,
There just seems like there's ways where if his offense is the same, you have options.
right.
But they did last year too at a different position, and they never chose to do anything about it. So,
And
until they're on the brink of elimination.
right.
And even then, Donaldson wasn't the one that like.
Yeah. I think
wore that.
I think they're gonna roll Donaldson out there. They're gonna see what it looks like. I do think they're gonna try to do something with Hicks because that would be the easier thing. And, Donaldson's on a timeline. If he's that again and Volpe's ready mid-May, we got to do something.
There's an answer.
We got to do something.
Remember last year with Donaldson, the beginning of the year, wouldn't play him at third base 2 days in a row.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So he's old.
Yeah, he's 37. He's 36 or whatever. Yeah, they wouldn't do that. That's interesting. All right, that's the episode.
Prove us wrong.
Prove us wrong. Win the game. Be the best, but don't take away a spot from someone I like a lot. DJ.
Guys in pinstripes.
Guys play.
Oh, I root for guys in pinstripes to help the team. Or
They're bad.
he's so bad.
Tweet again, dude.
Might help them.
Jake cracked his elbow. It hurt. Goodbye.